Dear NHL, we really have to talk. In fact, I've got so much I need to tell you right now. I'm going to end up making 4 different YouTube videos about various topics and things that you should highly consider changing even before next season rolls around. And I want you to understand everything I'm about to tell you here comes from a very genuine place, a very good place, a place of love. That's how I feel about the National Hockey League and hockey as a sport. Yes, I've covered it for 10 years professionally, but I've been a fan much longer than that. I want to see hockey grow. I want to see the NHL become more popular in the United States, but I also want to see it become safer and more sustainable for the players that we follow, we love, and we care about. The whole conversation about headshots or illegal hits to the head right now, it's an epidemic. I mean, it is a league-wide crisis right now because you have playoff series being decided by injuries that went unpenalized to the other team. But more importantly, you have players' lives, right? The concussion issues and potential CTE, you have that on the line as well. Their entire lives changed by an amount of hits they're taking right now in the National Hockey League, especially with playoff games. I mean, it really does feel sometimes like the wild, wild west out there. You can do anything you want, and very little of it gets penalized or punished after the fact. I want to be fair about this. You have said that player safety is a huge priority. In the last decade alone, you've changed rules. You've also created the Department of Player Safety to try and help deal with issues such as these. Crazy part is, here in 2019, more people are now confused than ever. What's a headshot? What's not? Why do some get penalized? Why are some not? And most importantly, how can you keep players safer out there on the ice in relation to shoulders and elbows going straight to their heads? I also want to take a realistic approach to this and try and figure out all the parties involved. It's not just the National Hockey League, because on Twitter today, I posed this question: who is most responsible for the NHL's current headshot crisis? About 2,000 responses here. 21% of those said it's the officials' fault. 11% said it was the players' fault. 63% said it was the league's fault, including the Department of Player Safety. And only 5% said what crisis, right? So that means 95% of 2,000 respondents understand there is a headshot crisis. But just going top to bottom here, 21% saying it's the officials. I'm not exactly sure that's the case. Sometimes the game happens so fast, sometimes we're able to see things with slow motion replays and those long zoom lenses that can see way more than the average eye can in person. I understand it's a very tough job being an NHL official. You're going to see some things, you're going to miss some things, and in fact, sometimes you're going to see things differently than they actually happened on the videotape in slow motion. 11% blame the players here. I want to put that into context. Of course, guys are going to try things they think they can get away with. I'm not saying they're totally innocent here, but yeah, there is some guilt. 11% of fans think this falls on the players. Yes, ultimately, they are the ones laying the hits. But the NHL is the one letting them get away with it most times. And that brings me to 63%. They say it's the league's fault. So clearly there's an issue here. Clearly there's something the league, more than the refs, more than the players, the league has to address this. Just going back to the officials versus the league in terms of responsibility, yeah, referees only have so much time to get things right. They have to make calls on the ice in a matter of moments. That timing is so different for the National Hockey League. They have hours and sometimes even days to go back and review all pieces of evidence and come up with conclusions that feel satisfactory. Again, how much can a referee even do? You can kick the hitting player out of the game, you can penalize him in other ways, but the referees, they're not the ones making suspensions. And for the player who got hit and who may be injured, I mean, how can officials even begin to compensate for what happened out there on the ice? That's the job of the NHL. And again, timing is so different here. They have all the time to get it right, whereas the officials are very much living in the seat of their pants in the moment. One of the other aspects of this that's got to change is the NHL can't just come out anymore and only explain illegal hits. right? Sometimes you have to go through the hearing, do the process, have the evidence all gathered together and ready, and post it out there by saying, this is a legal hit. We went over this, we decided, here is our thought process, and here is why we deemed this okay and we did not suspend the hitting player. You can't just pick and choose your opportunities of when you want to make your statements and then leave us hanging in the other times. Come out and explain it. I think you owe it to the fans. I think you owe it to the players who you're going to allow putting them in these difficult situations. Sometimes also there's talk of, well, this player didn't appear to be too hurt after a certain hit, or the player decided to travel with the team on the road trip following the night where he took a hit to the head. I just don't think any of that, none of that, should factor into disciplinary decisions. In fact, I don't even care if the player finished the game or was not able to participate anymore in the rest of the contest. You have to look at the hit for what it was and nothing more. No other ramifications really matter besides intent and execution in the situation. I'm realizing here that some of you watching this may be thinking right now, it's my opinion there should be no hitting across the National Hockey League, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Look, I love the speed aspect mixed with the physical aspect. I think that's why the NHL is certainly so intriguing. What other professional league across North America has it, speed and physicality to the same extent of the NHL? I'm fine with as much contact as the league wants to have out there, as much contact as they feel is safe, not just to the body, but even potentially to the head. But you really have to set a bar here. It's got to be super clear. You need to be entirely transparent about it so that we all understand what everybody's getting into, what a dirty hit looks like, and what a clean hit looks like. Your rules right now state nothing of those facts. I guess what I'm saying here to close it out is I'm looking for the highest level of consistency given the importance level of potential head injuries. We just need to know what looks clean, what looks dirty, what's suspendable, and what players should already have in their minds they cannot do out there on the ice surface before they actually go through with it, right? Because if players understand that suspensions are greater for headshots and they know exactly what they cannot do anymore, why would they do it? Right now they're taking chances because there's gray area, and also because they know there's not much consistency in terms of these suspensions. They just might get away with it and come out with a pretty good outcome. I just feel like the more times you come out with explanations, again, what's a dirty hit and what's a clean hit, the bigger database you build, the less confusion there is among everybody as to what's allowed and what's not. And also it becomes very clear to us what you're trying to protect and what you are truly trying to eliminate. So again, NHL, before next season, please, I need you to get very specific about headshots.